Oh, okay. Oh, let's get started. Well, hello everybody. It's been a minute. But yeah, we are back at it again with the painting. Yeah, it has been... I mean, I really appreciate all the views you guys are giving me on the last one. It's a little jank. It's a little figuring things out, but... I don't know. I don't know. I did some research or whatever into, you know, YouTubing successfully or something, and it's like, oh yeah, every video is a lottery ticket, and not all of them can win, so I'm not too choked up about it. But yeah, for the people who did show up, thanks for dropping by. It's I mean, the monkey brain in me is all happy to see number go up, but but yeah, no, I'm happy to have you all here. I don't really know what I'm doing today, but I know I'm gonna take this blue and then we put a whole bunch of it on here again, maybe a little too much again. Let's just start with some blue, some white. That's phthalo blue, by the way. Not for any particular reason other than I bought it and it's the only blue I have at the moment. So let's just have some paint on the palette. Why not? Maybe we can just take straight blue and put it on the paper today. Why not? Actually, you know what I actually want to do? I want to make a nice gradient for the blue to spread over. Because blue is not, at least this blue, I guess it depends on your paint brand, but some blues are just more translucent than the others, and so you gotta work around that before you go all crazy covering up layers and layers and layers of blue. So let's just buff that knife and get started, I guess. Dampen the brush a little bit. I'm actually just gonna go for a nice gray all along the top. And then the blue will layer over this, picking up the texture, but also making it all, go from blue to a little less intense blue. But anyway, oh, almost forgot to bring over my secret acrylic weapon, the spray bottle, the cat spray. The way I keep all of this rapidly drying stuff a little more wet. Yeah, I hope you all have had a wonderful start to your weekend. I know that I did. Ended up gaming with some friends. It doesn't sound very special, but well, for me, it's sometimes it gets difficult to coordinate even online hanging out, much less real life hanging out. It's always good to hear from them. A lot of moving forward in life. People I know. It's always interesting to hear what people are up to. So yeah, anyway, I finally broke down and got that what's it called? Xbox Game Pass. And we ended up playing the one game where you're in space and you're trying to escape from dinosaurs on alien planet. It's very silly, but I love it. That was all. Just what I did there was I just sprayed a bit on the drying acrylic paint. Just a little spray to keep it wet and then blending upward. And I'm just going for straight white here. Just pulling it upward. So all of it from this pile. we'll see how things go. Just gonna try to keep that wet for a second while I clean off the brush. Because I do want a clean brush when I blend it upwards. And then, God, blending is such a, I don't want to say a pain with acrylics, but it's always it's an interesting experience trying to get it to work. There we go. You know, it always feels like you have to try something different every time just to get your own paint to behave. Ooh, right? Like it does. Little streaks like that. Again, it's my own fault for muck around with forces I don't control. But either way, this is all going underneath a layer of blue, so I'm not too worried. There we go. Nice. Well, looks like the sky outside my house right now. I'm in California, where we're not having a good time. You know, on the sky front, on the air quality front, on the yeah. I mean, my family was lucky that we purchased an air purifier during winter, like, which was months ago, but that's, you know, just in case, leading up to it. But either way, not too worried about air quality inside the house. Outside, ugh. Might need to upgrade to one of those, better masks that actually do something to, you know, protect your lungs. It's like 10 in the morning where I am, so I'm on a Saturday. I'm still waking up. But either way, let's add some color. It's gonna be a blue sky. Maybe we want some nice yellow sand or something. Ooh, that's cad yellow. This is lemon yellow, I guess. Let's have some lemon yellow. I'm trying also to use up these small things before I finish off the large containers. Either way, leave a whole bunch of this yellow here on the palette in case I want to mix it with the blue for some green later. Either way, let's put the yellow there. Maybe some brown? Let's have some brown for mixing later. This is just, what is it? Raw umber? I know Umbral. I know Umbreon, the Pokemon. I don't really know what Umbral really means. Another Wikipedia rabbit hole to dive down. But depending on how... it's still drying a little bit. Maybe we take our palette. This is a parchment paper on top of a wet paper towel. It's a little jank, but it is a wet palette. So all of this stuff here that's being spread out and pulled and all that actually stays wet. It's very useful. Because for me, I like to not put too much on the palette, and then when I start running out of color, I just scrounge and try to scrape off everything I have left. So I'm not panicking for time on my own palette. I'm actually gonna take a clod of yellow, clod of brown. Maybe I'll need some white at some point. Maybe we'll make something weird over here. Some kind of weird brown yellow. I mean, it all does turn brown after a certain point. This is more of a gentle type of deal. Like that. Dark brown. More of a light brown. Or not stressed. Off the knife. And, what to do? Ah! I have a big brush. Very big brush. This is like a number 12. Number 12 round. So we're actually gonna get to it. Just gonna take this weird, not quite brown, not quite sand. Just gonna spin a whole bunch of it thinly across the bottom half of this. Maybe in a way that you can see all the texture. Just want the bottom half of this covered. I know at some point this blue is gonna have to come all the way down, and maybe it'll tickle the edges of these, but you know, I said sand, but now this is starting to look like a kind of mountain range, maybe, or some kind of field. It's like a field of little, not quite foxtails. The pointy, brushy ends of foxtails. The animal, not the weird, very not delicious foxtail plant. But we'll see what we can make out of this. It's also very thin, very watered down, so at least if it's horrible, it'll be easy to paint over. Yeah, it's one point where I disagree with Mr. Bob Ross. I think it's important to acknowledge when you fuck it up. I'll call things what they are. If it's a mistake, then it's a mistake. You know? But then you just move on from it. Don't get caught up trying to justify what you did. It's like that. But either way. Ooh, that is dreary. Gray sky. Some weird brown thing there. Looks like the hills that are the brown hills that are about to be lit on fire outside of my outside my neighborhood. But either way, we try not to think. Try not to think about it. Don't think about it, Morty. Either way, wipe that off. Put that off to the side. This would be okay for the blue now. So I'm just gonna wet this brush and grab a teeny tiny bit. As I put this this layer down here, I don't actually have to use a lot. Even this is too much when I think about it. I just want a vertical stuff. Yeah. Well, it seems to be somewhat working the way I want it to. Top half of that blue is a little darker, a little more mottled, weird bottom half. And just pull all this down. Just a little more water. Pull them a little easier. I'm not dry brushing as much as the next person, but there is a time and a place. Right now is not one of them. So, this weird kind of curtain looking blue. Vertical. I wouldn't say haunting. Looks a bit like a It's like the glass of an aquarium. It would be nice to go back to the aquarium at some point. Now that it's open. I don't know how much longer though. Delta's being a bitch. But other than the plague, you know, it's a great time to visit the aquarium. See the fishies. Do something. Maybe a little brave, maybe a little stupid. See if I can move these downward over top. Up here. I mean, it doesn't look very good, but it's alright. Honestly, we're just figuring out what this is going to look like. Maybe this will be mixed in with something else. Although I like this pseudo green that actually pops up underneath all of this. Ooh, you know what? See, this is what I was hoping would happen up here with the gray and the white, but it just got overpowered by the blue. Here's the interesting translucent blue effect that I thought would be neat. This is a translucent blue over top of brown. Like a weird yellow brown. It's turning green. Yeah. Why the heck not? Either way. Let's clean off the brush. I'm not too worried about how it looks at all. I really want to get the blue out of this thing, because once the blue is on there, it's pretty hard to get out. So, take more coffee. Let's think about what we want to do. Nice blue sky. Or it's underwater. I don't know. This could be one of those, ooh, this could be, you know, deep underwater, where they have those hydrothermal vents, and that's, where they have those weird, they only exist down here animals. That'd be neat. Those are like columns and smokestacks and things like that. Because the bottom of the ocean isn't super smooth either. It is in places, but ever since I saw these little ridgy things, I thought, ooh, maybe we're underwater instead of in the air. Oh. Why not? But let's have some black left over. What colors do I have? Ooh, some nice Viridian blue-green. I would hate to have to make more green, because I'm all out and I don't trust myself to mix. So here comes the pretty built Viridian color. Maybe eventually we'll get to the red. Definitely do want to put the red in there, but either way, let's do something neat. And so these mountains are here. Maybe I'm gonna take some, just a bit of blue, maybe swipe it through a bit of black. Maybe do exact same type deal down here. These odd shapes popping up. Maybe with a little more black. A few of them reach upward out of here. There's a big one right here, up front. I mean, that looks like a dick, but well, it'll have some detail. God, I hope so. Back there. And a little opening here. Maybe we'll put some wispy smoke clouds there or something. I'm just gonna darken up this background here with more blue than anything. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know what I'm doing. All I'm going off of is memories of planet Earth on the brain. That's an old documentary. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that information. There are weird animals in the caves and a bunch of shenanigans going on with the bats. The bats, the polar bears, and the emperor penguins, which are now endangered. Or are they functionally extinct yet? They're threatened or something like that. That was their official thing recently, which is sad. Pretty sad. Actually, bring this weird blue smudging all the way up. Just join it with the rest. Huh. You know, that didn't come out half as bad as I thought it would be. So let's just a couple more odd chimney things. Just kind of blend and disappear into the rest of them. What the heck? Why not? Widen the openings of these chimney things. So it's a little dark to the eyes, but well, I'm sure we'll come up with something. So let's just wash this off, get all the blue off of it. One dip in the clean water. There we go. And I assume this has dried up a little bit. And it has. I actually have some gray. It's nice that I still have it on hand and it hasn't dried up, which is the sole reason I use the wet paper towel. Again, it's very jank, but I like to be efficient with these things. Maybe instead of sticking with the large round brush, maybe we go to our old friend, the very teeny tiny fan brush. I should probably get a larger one. At the rate I use it and abuse it, this thing probably hates me. Either way, let's get to some gray smoke stacking. It's gonna start out like a fairly dark gray. Fairly dark gray, because maybe if we want to put more wispy white details on it, we'll get around to that. Because I want this to look like circular plumes of smoke. Maybe go with a nice U, like a U-shaped stroke of the brush, so it looks like a cylinder of that smoky smokestack stuff. With some imperfections in there too. Wrong with that. This one's a little thinner than the rest. And well, let's start with those three. Ooh, maybe we'll put some weird fishes around them. Put some weird fishes on there. But like the weirdest sort of fishies that just gonna stick this right into the blue and then maybe go through the black again. Just along here. The shape of fishes. Weird little shapes off in the distance. Maybe they have a fin, maybe they don't. Maybe there's a nice little crab laying around somewhere. Maybe there's a wispy shape of a fish out here. Let's make this a little more wispy. So well defined at all. Sort of have a fin, sort of not. Maybe only half of them is really there. Someone hiding out back here. They're all very distant, weird looking fish. There's just a fin poking out from the side. And then maybe in here we'll have some detail for those hydrothermal vents. Some crab looking dude over here. A pincer or something. Either way. Barely fish, that's what I call them. There we go. That, and why don't we get back to the fan brush? Now that those fish are in there, take something maybe a little more of like the white, but just barely any of it. So it's a very wet brush picking up, like pulling and stretching out a whole bunch of the white paint. And some of this gray is thick enough to you know, still be wet. We're fine with that. We'll let that mix up a little bit. I'm just taking the corner of this fan brush, giving it an effect. I'm just pulling a little. Using that same corner I just took the paint off with. Just pulling sideways. There we go. Just gonna do the same thing. This one looks a little more dry than the others. And gently pull to smudge it a little more into there. It's alright if some of the blue shows through. Stuff like that. Maybe it zooms out a little more. Because at some point, these hydrothermic vents, they disperse. You can't really see them anymore because, you know, the ocean's big. Not dissolved. Yeah, dissolve. All these magma nutrients or whatever the heck those ancient plankton were eaten. But at some point, we're gonna add some color here, because I remember seeing there were like little white and red shrimps and there were a whole bunch of weird, cool stuff. So, actually, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna grab a bit of the gray again. A little bit of the gray. For that. And because this is a lot closer, just gonna... And I don't want to cover up everything in the background. Just little thin back and forths. Maybe in the background. It's a lot more wispy. Except for this guy, this big ol' hydrothermal vent. Nothing outward. Like that. Not the clearest, not the most well thought out or planned, but otherwise these vents would cover the whole paper, whole canvas. Make sure that it's the most concentrated at the base. So, yeah, maybe we get a little white in there. Just do mix around the white. Just do the exact same thing. Just adding that indication that something's going on there. Doesn't have to be overt. The extra gray, not the white. This one, it's closest up front. Still a little bit of white. Nothing too crazy. This one done. So I want to get to the interesting stuff. Because the interesting stuff is nice and colorful. Little coral reef formations and little colonies of tubers and all these other little things that bring the bottom of the ocean to life, right? So, just gonna run myself through the white, and pull a bit of vermilion, viridian, very different things. Actually, gonna start marking out the columns of these things, make them noticeable. Maybe this one is a little crooked out here. Distance. This one's very crooked, maybe. And just gonna let this chimney stack do its thing. I don't know where this light is coming from, but either way, it looks very pretty. Just trying to make these look like big ancient cylinders spewing stuff out there forever. Actually forever. So, if that's there, maybe we play a little more with the white. Play a little more with the whites, because remember, sometimes there are like little substacks. They're very cute little things. Background a little bit, all huddled up at the base. Grab some more of these. It's kind of tropical down here. Fine. Keep going with it. What? Actually, let's call it little bits of seagrass. Little bits of seagrass disappearing into the background. That's nice. So, let's put a little bonus pieces all along all of these. This one's a nice big cylinder hanging off the end of it. Maybe this one's up. Kind of. He didn't get the memo. He's pointed off to the side. One more beneath him. Why the heck not? Nice, cute little swirly gigs around it. Maybe off at a distance, maybe you can see little ones. And with that, let's put a few stray ones while I get the paint to thin off a bit. And I just want the seagrass to be a little more sea colored than anything, so we're just gonna move onward and upward and fade off into the distance there. Yep. A little more meridian and move up. And that nice. That, and the teeniest tiniest bit of white. Maybe there's a whole stack of tube looking things. It's just hanging out by its lonesome. There we go. It's a little strong, but you know what? That's fine. Off into the distance. Maybe it's just it's like a little rockier over there. Maybe that's why it shows up so strongly. Doesn't matter. Although it does matter enough that I feel like I can hide this transition area from the first layer of brown to blue all the way up to the second one. People won't notice. If I cover it with enough seagrass, maybe they won't notice. Either way, that doesn't look so bad. Maybe when it comes to these stacks, maybe if you want a bit lighter detail on one side more than the other. I'm gonna highlight it with some unseen light. Because when you think about it, these no one actually ever sees these things. You've a bit of an enigma unless you have a very, very expensive James Cameron submarine. Let's just make little circular ends to these thermal vents. I got some nice seagrass. So those should actually dry pretty quickly because they're kind of wispy and all that. But while we're here, may as well get creative with it. Let's grab not the regular red. This is vermilion. I keep mixing up viridian and vermilion. It's a little weird, but we work with that. Add some unexpected warm color down in the deep, because that's a real thing. You get weird reds and yellows and not like deep dark purples, but like bright happy purples, like lavender colored things. There's bioluminescence. Underwater is kind of amazing. This is where we take tiny brush again. Teeny tiny brush. Go ahead, start. Maybe little details. Maybe little You know, they're little lobsters. Little itty-bitty lobster crabs. They're also like little colonies of like pale lightless tubers or something, and then have like a weird inner red thing. But let's just add some. Let's add some little red just things down here. Make them disappear. Let's call them corals. I know there aren't really corals down here in the deep, but I like the clusters of them. I like that, like the imagery of that. It's just a whole bunch of very odd, strange things have all decided to live together. Maybe this stack is more of a. Maybe this stack is more of a, like a coral arm or something. There we go. They grow all along and all inside of and all next to little coral things. This one has a little nub growing off the side. Coral does whatever it wants to do. Anything I remember from learning biology and that type of stuff is that coral takes a very long time. It does take a very specific temperature range, but they'll grow. Little polyps doing triple quadruple duty. Just growing and growing and growing and filtering out stuff. So we have this guy reaching out over just off of there. Pull to an edge like that. Yeah, lots of little. This is turning out to be a nice little salmon color. Nothing too crazy. Something flat back there. It looks a little weird. It doesn't. This one, I like the little swirls on this one in the corner. I'm gonna leave them alone. Maybe put some tippy tappy coral bits along these edges there. They really like to dig themselves into the background of all around the bases of these. It also helps me to hide the fact that I didn't make bases for them. You know what? I think we'll be alright. So lots of little details. Maybe we'll rinse this off a little bit. Take the yellow. Same brush. This is very wet, very watery. I like it. That's why I use the wet palette. I'm just gonna do the same thing that these aquamarine things are, and they've got white on one side. Just gonna let the yellow highlight all along inside of these. Not this one, because this one is very obviously still wet. But either way. Add some vibrant color here and there. Is it little McDonald's colors? Yeah. But I don't know. Have you seen them trying to divvy up who owns the moon and who can put stuff there? I mean, pretty soon someone's gonna stick a flag on it, saying that this is the official bottom of the ocean McDonald's. Just gonna let those yellows. Who the heck not? Thermal vented coral. Oh no, he's venting. like the idea of little squiggly things growing up around some of these places. Why the heck not? Just little glowy. You know how these things work. They just hang around and float through the water. Just like, I mean, it's an ingenious strategy. Just let the food come to you. I mean, I try to do that sometimes, but no one ever shares their French fries with me that way. Bit of a bummer, but move on from those. Just a thin, faint one in the back there. Teeny tiny. The way back there, why not? You know, for having thought this would be a beach scene at the very beginning, I am very happy with how this bottom of the ocean geothermal vent piece is coming out. And we need crabs. We need crabs and lobsters. How could I be such a fool? Am I missing colors? Got blue, green, and these other things. Maybe before the crabs we take a little bit. Take a little more blue, maybe. I'm just gonna see what this looks like. Trying to blend the very obvious grays back into the ocean blue, the deep ocean blue. Ah, it doesn't look so bad. It's very lightly back and forth. Not quite trying to smear it out of existence, but trying to just make the big gray columns a little less obvious. Nothing too crazy. Because the blue in the background is already like a translucent blue over top of another thing of gray, so anything I've learned about blue today is that layers upon layers. They turn out alright. At least this specific thing of phthalo blue, this is Liquitex Basics. So it's not, I don't think this is considered heavy body or, you know, whatever some people try to be very particular about with their colors and the texture of their paint. I know it's very, very particular to some people, and I'm sure the more I learn about painting, the more it'll be more important. I'll be a connoisseur someday. But for now, just happy to have paint that doesn't immediately dry out. One honest chimney stack. It blends in a lot better now. It's covering up some of my wispy fishies, but that's fine. They're supposed to be wishy-washy anyways. So let's think about crabs. Why the heck not? Check that. Alright. So, have I been a dingus and have that turned the wrong way for this entire time? As long as you can see it. It's the only real important part. But either way, here we are. This looks like a little sea cucumber. It looks like a Wurmple Pokemon. But ignoring that, play with some crabs. Just gonna take this clod of white paint, which has somehow survived. I'm just gonna spread it out a little further so that more of the water can keep it wet. But let's just put a little, little crabby men here. A little vaguely heart shape with some big hands and a few very little legs out the back. We'll put a really teeny tiny lobster boy or crabby boy climbing up there. They really don't look like crabs, but I'm just going off of maybe people recognize the vague crab shape. Just gonna put the front-facing crab here. It's got to see how you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. He's doing his thing. These little eye buds over here. There. And they say that everything turns into crabs, which is true. Legit, the funniest thing I learned last year was that it was like carcinogenesis or something, where it was like, yeah, every crustacean is slowly evolving into the crab shape because you can't beat it. It is actually objectively the best crab shape, or the best crustacean shape, and just everything just evolves over millions of years into a crab. I put one little crabby claw here. Hope that people notice. Yeah, okay. I like that these do look like underwater mountains off in the background. Nothing too crazy. Just adds like a little depth of field into there, which I like a lot. And I already did the what is it? Reddish with yellow. Maybe I do white crabs with little red shells on top of them. Maybe that'll be cute. But I do need to let the crabs dry before I stick a whole bunch of red paint on them. Otherwise we're gonna get pink crabs. And pink crabs insinuates that they've already been cooked. Yeah, alright. Take a very... not quite as thin, but still a pretty small brush. Actually take the black. And then just trying to better define the edges here. It's alright if it covers over some of the previous stuff. But I just want a nice clear, this is left and this is right. Paint over my crab. And you, my friend, need a border off to the left. It's a straight shot. That. Just gonna make things nice and well defined. It's alright if it's not all that. It does ruin the wispy edges of it a little bit, but just want people to be able to see the left and the right side, different it looks from one side to the next. I did miss that one in the back. Hold on. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna leave him there, like that. Maybe we need more fishies? Maybe... We've already done red, yellow, white. Some more red, yellow, white, deep blue, and then that. Could go with purple. Dare I try and create purple again? No. I'm gonna take half of this color, slap it over there, grab a whole bunch of this blue, and see what happens. This is like mixing orange and blue, basically. It's a little weird. I have no idea what I'm gonna get. Well, apparently I'm gonna get blue. That's what. That's what. It's neat. It's a different shade of it's a slightly different shade. Tell you what, let's just grab some white. Mix that around. Yeah, that's just dark blue. I always end up making this color. This is like the 8th time in a row I've tried to make purple and instead gotten murky green, green blue. Let me just grab all the rest of this orangey color to see what we can get. Because I'm genuinely curious now. What does this turn into? Okay, well, it turns into more gunky blue. So, I've learned my lesson and used up all of my orange. Either way, that's fine. Purple's not usually associated with underwater. What? Brown. Grab some red. Dunk a whole bunch there. Only going to touch it with the blue. A whole bunch of red there. Teeny tiny, itty bitty bit of blue. And purple. We're gonna make purple. Some white along with that leftover bluish purple thing. Yeah, there we go. It's more of a deep magenta. Oh no, there, never mind. It's turning into purple. Purplish pink. Ooh, I like that color. Almost maroon. Ooh. Grab a little more white because I want to be able to see this stand out. There we go. White paint in there. I think this will be alright. No, the heck not. Off the knife. Get all the blue off of it. And maybe so I'm gonna take a whole bunch of this nice purple stuff. I'm gonna make little coral domes. You guys remember what the coral domes from Finding Nemo looked like? Like they sort of look like little, well, domes. Actually just gonna... There could be starfish. I remember seeing those giant starfish and they are absolutely terrifying because they would just chase down the smaller starfish and then the science people flipped one over and showed me that horrible, horrible mouth. So it's like... don't know how much I like this deep sea diving thing, Mr. Attenborough. I'm very uncomfortable with with everything that's happening. Maybe up here we'll add some kind of... I was about to say, let's paint a SpongeBob jellyfish. That would be a bit much. A bit much. But I will put a little detail, a little highlight on these little yellow strands. They're all just out there, wiggling out in the open ocean. They need some purple on one side of them. Why not? Yellow wispies. It's a little difficult to see it from this angle, but they certainly make me happy. So let's actually just start putting in a bunch of little white speckles onto these speckles, not mixing or anything. A very weird bumpy texture. They're uneven coral things, so they may as well be as weird as possible. Ooh, you know what? Since this is such a deep, like, sort of purple color, let's actually take some of it, wipe off the paint off the brush a little bit. Just kind of on the top half of all these wispy fish. Give them a little definition. Maybe off in the distance, there's just little shapes blending off into the water in the distance. Something hanging out behind that little mountain there. Okay, let's, well, I certainly hope the crabs are dry, because they're about to get painted over with a little bit of red. This is fighting crabs. Okay. I'm gonna have to wash this one thoroughly afterwards. But back to the teeniest, tiniest number 0. I don't have red on my palette, because I turned it all into purple. Just, ooh. This is like a nice deep crimson red, but I actually want straight cad red, actually. Like red. Tiniest little drop. You're not using all that much. And we start decorating the edges of this crab. Teeny tiny. I mean, this one looks like he's wearing a little Mario jumpsuit, but that's fine. We're just gonna just cover him with a teeniest tiniest little bit of red. Make him stand out. He's got a red belly. So this one is a bit closer, so maybe I'm being a little more careful with how he looks. Other than that, all of these ones can have a nice red shell color, kind of brushed over a little bit. Ooh. If I remember correctly, let me see how this looks just on one of these bad boys. Maybe some red, because this red has also been, it's on the this wet palette, so I can pull it very thin and it'll be all watery and translucent. So thinking maybe I let some fiery insides of the magma vents be seen. That would be neat. Like that. And it's all translucent, so it won't be too jarring, I guess. Not too jarring, not too crazy or anything. Just covered it with a nice burning red. This little smokestack. You can just maybe vaguely see the inside of what, I remember. I'm going entirely off of memory of what Planet Earth, that one episode of Planet Earth, looked like in my head. All from memory. But that's alright if it's a little fantastical. Doesn't really have to be, doesn't have to be true to life, doesn't have to be real, even. I just think it's neat. With that... Weird little hybrid of, coral and geothermal vents. Because normally there's no light down there. Nothing at all. The only things we see are what are, blazingly illuminated with, with floodlights so the cameras can see. It's all fantastic stuff. So, with that, I think I may just call this one done. It's a little weird. We took a little journey to get here, but yeah. Just send us home. But yeah. Thanks for hanging out with the live stream. People watching afterwards in the video, that's perfectly fine. I'm glad that you're here. But yeah, I'm trying to get used to the whole YouTuber spiel at the end of the video, so please remember to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell if you like, and I'll see you next time. Take care.